It's March 2020. At the time of this recording, the WHO, or World Health Organization, has declared the coronavirus, codenamed COVID-19, a pandemic. I looked up pandemic. It's defined as an epidemic that has spread out over several countries or continents, usually affecting a large number of people. You may be asking yourself, what does the coronavirus have to do with your career growth? Stick around to find out. You're listening to Craig Ansell. I'm your host of Career Growth Made Easy podcast. Welcome back. We're now into episode 18. Coronavirus, COVID-19. Are your habits healthy or hazardous? As we become more and more aware of our World Healthcare Organization, we hear more about what to do, what not to do, how to protect ourselves, where to go, where to avoid, etc. This got me thinking about my habits, my routines, and performing a self-check to see what, if any, might need to be changed. For starters, it's always a good idea to wash your hands with soap and water, and when you wash, the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, recommends a minimum of 20 seconds in doing so. An alternate to soap and water is hand sanitizer. They also, that is the CDC, recommend at least 80% alcohol concentration. I think that's to ensure it kills the germs. Now, personally, I've made a habit change here. When I wash my hands, I do a fingertip scrub where I soap up both hands, then open one palm at a time and scrub my fingertips by opening and closing my hand, my grip if you will, in the other hand, and it cleans underneath the fingernails where I think germs can hide. Finally, we should avoid touching our eyes, our nose, our mouth. I didn't know this term, but it's called a smear infection, and I recently learned it due to the coronavirus situation. Anytime you have bacteria or dirt on your hands and you wipe another body part, such as an opening like your eyes, your nose, your mouth, you could accidentally infect yourself by having touched a dirty surface prior and then introducing it into your body. Again, I'm not a doctor, and this show is not a substitute for medical advice. I believe a smear infection is defined as a transmission of infection by direct contact with an infected person or indirect by touching contaminated objects. Earlier I mentioned my habit change with hand washing techniques. Well, another part of my habit change is to avoid smear infections. Great, but how am I doing that? As part of my career growth journey, it's important to know where I am, so do a sort of self-assessment, including my habit checks to see what my habits are and if they're healthy or not, and if they require change. In this case, it's a lot easier to read and understand to avoid touching the nose, eyes, ears, and mouth than it is to do it. Earlier in this year, as the news of the coronavirus started to spread, I gave serious thought to my hygiene. Back in episode 6, we talked about say yes less. It mentioned an extreme workload and wearing yourself down. In fact, in my case, I got pretty sick, and I actually got pneumonia. With that said, I'm very focused on staying as healthy as possible. Back to smear infections, I realized how many not-so-healthy habits I had. In a standard workday, how many times did I in fact wash my hands? In the absence of hand washing, did I seek out alcohol-based hand sanitizers? Frequently throughout the day, I caught myself reaching toward my face to scratch an itch, rub my eyes, perhaps rub my nose, heck, even reach for my lips or mouth because I felt an irritation and wanted to address it. All those actions were habits. Many were autopilot actions. Imagine if I were able to rewind several years, I'd likely see these habits in action over and over. I've since modified how I reach out for things. More frequently, I will open a push door with my forearm, a closed fist, maybe my foot, Or if I use my hand, it will be in an uncommon area of the door that's not used as frequently. Certainly not the handle or the push bar. If I do use the push bar, I'll rotate my body and press it open with my waist, for example. Again, this is not meant as a medical advice episode. However, with the pandemic status, it's a great time to review our personal habits and question or change them. When is the last time you wiped down or disinfected your home or work computer, keyboard, and mouse? How about your office phone, including the buttons and headset? I've started cleaning my personal and work cell phones more frequently as well. For purchases where I used to use a debit card, I try to press the buttons with the knuckle on my finger rather than pushing with my fingertip. My goal is to minimize surface touches and then touch secondary surfaces to avoid germ transfer. Elevator buttons, doorbells, keypads, nearly all button activities get the knuckle now. The goal of today's podcast is really just to increase your awareness of the coronavirus, codenamed COVID-19, and the protection that you can apply through healthy habits and challenge, possibly change, the way that you look at your habits. Just because you've always done it doesn't mean you've always done it right. Perhaps the next time that you reach out to push play for this podcast or another, or touch your radio knob in your car for some music, you'll remember, hey, where was my hand last, and what surfaces did I touch? What surfaces need to be cleaned or sanitized? This is Craig Ansell from Career Growth Made Easy, wishing you strong health and also reminding you to check your habits. It's okay to challenge yourself every now and then and find ways that you might be able to improve and stay healthy out there. God bless you. We're praying for you. We turn problems into potential and issues into opportunities. Don't forget to subscribe, and we're always looking for feedback. You can do so at info@craigansell.com. That's info@craigancel.com. We have a contact page, and also you can reach out to us through the show note links. Talk to you next week. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to our channel. New episodes every Monday. In the meantime, why don't you follow us on social media at Craig Ansell on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. To book a coaching appointment, download our free guides, or join our email list, check out the links in the description below.